Hello, everyone, metalheads all over the world, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome back to the Horsemen Podcast. We are back with episode 91. Yes, we have an episode for the first time in only just a couple of weeks, not 3 months for once. So, anyways, I guess January is typically always the best time to do these because some schedules free up and also circumstances like weather can cause a factor, but not so the case in this situation. Instead, we are back almost a year, or a little over a year, to the date of when we
Is
did
it?
this last time. So please
Wow.
welcome back. The badass guitar maestro himself, Jesper Gras from Iotunn.
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, since we only just scratched the surface on the last episode we did over a year
Yeah.
ago, and of course I brought it up to you in Instagram chats like later that day because the day we did that episode, I remember vividly, was over here in America. We had our college football national championship game where my team,
Oh,
Ohio State, played in the final against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and Ohio State won the championship. So it was like you were the good luck charm that day for me.
wow.
Unfortunately, they didn't win it this year,
glad to
but
be.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
um,
okay.
yeah, they
We
didn't win
should
it
have
this year, but they
done
got
the interview a
close.
couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe it could have helped, but hey, at least a team in their conference came out with the
Yeah.
championship this year, so at least a streak goes. But no more about my team. So let's just
Yeah.
get down right to the nitty gritty, and that's all about metal and Iotunn and all the things in between. So since we last talked about a year ago, a lot has been going on in the band, like new
Oh
live
yeah.
album and playing big festivals and such. So, uh, what's uh,
Yeah.
what's the status update on the band currently?
Yeah, as you say, we had a really big year last year. I think we talked, yeah, that was quite soon after we released the Kinship. And we could really feel the reviews and the reception by people that people were very happy about the album. But it wasn't until like the whole of last year, concert wise, that we really felt okay. This album perhaps got us to a new level. Uh, and yeah, we went on tour with Soen and Dark Tranquility in the autumn. Really, really nice, and Equilibrium, and it was a really, really good experience. Lots of people coming out, even though we played as the first act, and yeah, played huge festivals. Played in front of more than 10,000 people at Wacken, which is perhaps my life's music highlight in some way, I would say.
Yeah,
And while doing all this concert stuff, uh, yeah, we've been working on all the material we had from that Copenhagen show back in 23, which back then when we recorded it, we actually had the wish to release it at some point. But I think we got caught up in the whole writing and yeah, just the creation of the Kinship album. So in some way, when we released Kinship, had like a small brief moment of some space and time, and we were like, okay, let's let's do it now. We didn't have that many concerts back in the beginning of last year, so only some headline gigs and a festival or two or something. But then we spent half a year or something finishing all the sound and video editing and the visuals and everything for the live album. So the current state is the live album is out, and it's been really good response also. And next Friday we will release the last song on video from the release, and then we can collect the full show as one video, so to speak. And yeah, and we've begun the writing of album 3. So that's the first steps are being done, and yeah, it's going really well. It's so good to be back focusing full on writing music, because that's probably the thing that's the most dearest to us. It's to sit and create music. That's the most fun part ever. Yeah, and then we're going to play a hell lot of shows this year. Big festivals again, and our first headlining tour around Europe and Turkey. Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like this year's
Yeah.
going to be quite busy for sure.
Yeah.
But
It is.
yeah, but hey, at least the name's getting out there more, and
Yeah.
and hopefully maybe after the new album number 3 drops, maybe there could be the opportunity, because seeing you guys still on Metal Blade, I would love it if at some point after album 3 is released, you guys can finally get to do a giant US Canada tour.
Yeah. I actually just this morning had a meeting with our manager and booker. We have that occasionally, like,
Yeah.
and we actually had a tour planned for US and Canada back just before COVID, which got and
Yeah.
ever since that, sometimes with the whole concert aspect, it's just hard work, and it's okay. There's a possibility. There's a possibility. Let's try and go on this one. Oh, it didn't work out. Oh, this is gone again, and it's always like this.
Mhm.
But in this kind of chaotic situation, you land something here and there,
Oh yeah.
and it is getting tougher for us as European bands to come to the US and play concerts, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because of the visas and so on. So that's actually it makes it really tricky. But of course we want to play everywhere. But we just said today that okay, 27 we really have to go to US and Canada, and so we'll be focusing on doing a hell lot of shows in Europe this year again, and then hopefully next year.
Yeah, because funny enough, recently on my YouTube channel, I did a video that it's like a 20 questionnaire thing that I created called The Metal Friend, just because I couldn't think of anything else clever. And one question I created for people to answer is like, if you could book your own dream festival for one day of just 5 bands, who would you choose? The 5 bands that I picked were,
Yeah.
for the opener, I picked the Swedish thrash band Mesro, because, like, to me, that band, and I keep pushing this band to people because I feel they truly deserve more love, because they basically, yeah, they're from Sweden, but they sound so much like classic Bay Area thrash, like old Metallica, and most
How do I
especially
spell it?
Testament. It's Mezzzo
Yeah.
or ROW.
All right. Never heard it. I'm going to check it out.
Oh, it's so good. But they would be my
Cool.
opener if I booked my own Dream Festival. They would open. Then I would say Iotunn, to get, of course, you guys, more broad audience out there, and then Mastodon, then Opeth,
Yeah.
and then the headliner Metallica. Just to get
Good,
like a
yeah.
wide spectrum of like thrash and like prog and extreme metal and all that combined. Basically, all my music tastes wrapped up into one big show.
Yeah.
So, of course, I could have gone in so
band,
many.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, it's always tough to do those things, but Mastodon, Opeth, and Metallica could easily be in my top 5 as well.
Yeah.
Metallica would absolutely be the headliner.
They would have to be.
Of course.
I mean, who else could,
of course.
right?
Who else? Yeah. True.
Who else could, right? But actually, as we go through this episode, I'll be going back and forth between even some questions that my other co-hosts wanted to ask you, but they couldn't make it for either work reasons or, in the case of Ricky, getting hit with that big ice storm down in Texas.
Yeah.
So, but luckily he did send me some. But the first question I got comes from our other co-host, Tristan, who couldn't make it due to work reasons, but he wanted to ask you, what bands or artists inspired Iotunn the most?
Yeah, that's always one of those Yeah, I could, talk for a long time, because if you take the totality of all 5 members, then it's really a lot of music, and it's not just metal music. It's way beyond that as well. I think my brother and I, we write the guitars as the first thing in the band, so we make a total guitar composition of a song, and then present it to the rest of the guys. And if I had to say, like, from that perspective, my brother and I would, classical music is actually, I think, not all the way up there as an inspiration as metal and rock music, but it actually is in so many ways. We listen a lot to classical music, and we've done it throughout life. So, but metal wise, yeah, that's just lots of music. We like all the big metal bands from back in the days: Judas Priest, Metallica, Maiden, Motorhead, but also back to the more rockish, like Deep Purple, Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, of course. Ozzy, Black Sabbath and Ozzy, means really, really a lot to my brother and I. And Slayer, of course, Megadeth, Metallica being the biggest. Like, my brother and I've been to more than 20 Metallica concerts together, and we just keep on. Like, it's impossible to describe what that means, that space at a Metallica concert.
Yep.
But like, the whole Swedish melodic metal scene means a lot as well to me personally. Bands like In Flames, Soilwork, Dark Tranquillity, which we toured with, means and has meant a lot to my way of composing riffs. For instance, Opeth means a lot. Lots of Norwegian bands, like all of them, I would say. It's really hard to find a bad Norwegian metal band. In many ways. So yeah, all the big ones, inspirations. And I think a huge inspiration as well is like old progressive rock, as Genesis and Pink Floyd and The Doors, all kinds of bands. Yes. So for me also, like, I love to listen to, like, rocking blues music. I really love to listen to, and film soundtracks as well. A huge influence as well. Ennio Morricone and Hans Zimmer, etc.
Oh yeah.
So I really like, also like good pop songs, like good 80s pop music.
That's always a soft spot for me too, even though I was a 90s kid.
But I mean, I think there's some genres I don't listen to because not because I haven't been curious about the genres I actually have, but the fundamental sound of those genres just doesn't hit me in my heart. Such as, I don't really listen to funk music. I don't really listen to hip hop music. But besides those, I would say I probably listen to, like, everything, and I could probably find some funk and hip hop. I would say, oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
But just good quality, well-written music that just hits you, and that can be like a lot of different things. So yeah. And it's the same approach all the way around the band. There's no one in this band that's just like, I'm only listening to metal, or it's broad, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I remembered saying in the last time we talked a year ago, I remembered saying like the best, like I always say the best way to describe Iotunn in terms of like immediate band comparisons, it would be to like old Opeth and Borknagar mixed into one. Sure. And actually, funny enough, I'll just go ahead and do this real quick because
Yeah.
we used to do this rather kind of funny thing on the show back a long time ago, talking about whenever we bring up a guest's band, we always go to the always controversial Metal Archives Encyclopedia
Ooh.
Metallum, which of course, I will. This will be the last time I'll bring this up in terms of how I feel about it. Objectively, it's an amazing site, but
It is.
there are some glaring issues as far as like bands that are on there versus bands who are not. Like, take for example, you have Killswitch Engage on there, but you don't have Hatebreed on there, and yet they're both metalcore bands. But that's a whole
I'm
other rabbit hole.
silently agreeing.
Ooh, yeah, definitely. Just because it's like, that's a whole another topic for another time.
Yeah.
And besides, my friends from Thralls of Metal on YouTube have already gone more in depth about that than I ever could have. But going back to the Iotunn page, like I remember whenever I was first hearing about you guys a few years ago, but I never got around to actually listening to the music until Kinship came out because I was looking up like, okay, what's stuff coming up that I could listen to and review and whatnot. I see Iotunn, and I was like, kept hearing about that name come up back in 2021 and such, and I just never got into it at the time until the new album. And then I listened to the new album, and I remember I described it to you whenever my reaction, I was just like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So, but like going on to your guys' Metal Archives page and going to that, my favorite part of the website, the similar artist tab, where it's like, hey, if you like this band, you'll probably
Yeah.
dig all these bands. And it's like a lot
Yeah.
of these
Which
bands.
band?
Yeah, like a lot of the bands I see on here, I would definitely agree. Like the biggest one being Borknagar, because I always would say to like whenever I've been trying to help get other people into your band, especially those who are more into like straight up black metal or progressive black metal, I always say like, hey, you probably dig Iotunn because they kind of remind me of Borknagar, but if like Borknagar was more death metal inspired as opposed to black metal inspired. It's kind of like the yin to Borknagar's yang almost. But like also Wilderun from here in the US, like I would say that's a pretty good
Yeah.
one. In Vain from Norway would be another
Yeah,
one.
they'll be the main support on our European tour.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, and I like their last album that came out. I think it was the same year as Kinship.
Yeah,
Of
it
course,
was.
yeah, of course, Barren Earth, which I figured because of Jan's connection to both
Makes
bands,
sense.
makes total sense. Bellacore from Australia up there
Yeah.
too. Insomnium, which I could agree with to an
Yeah.
extent. Definitely In Mourning from Sweden. Like I definitely see similarities at times. And it just goes on and on, like Persephone, Enslaved, Ne Obliviscaris, Primordial, An Abstract Illusion, Winter Sun, Eternal Storm, Witherscape. But there's always at least two bands that they don't get enough votes on the site that should be like way up high. Opeth and Edge of Sanity.
Yeah, it's funny. I've listened a lot to Opeth. I've listened not that much to Edge of Sanity actually, but it's actually been mostly like driving around touring or something, and it's often been our drummer who said, "Let's listen to this and this," and I always thought, "Okay, I need to check everything out here because it's really good." But what I remember, it makes sense also as well. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if I could recommend at least like for Edge of Sanity newcomers, like people who want to get into Edge of Sanity even further, Crimson would be the album I would start with just because like that's in my opinion a top 5 not only progressive death metal, but progressive metal album, period, because just
Yeah.
1 40-minute song of just incredible writing. Like, you get moments of the melodic death metal, Swedish death metal, prog rock, prog metal, and it's both Dan Swano and Michael Ockerfeld combined together doing vocals and all this stuff. Like, you get some of Michael's best screams of his whole career on parts on that album, but I always say,
Yeah.
like, the one, like, vocal moment that's, like, the most hypnotic would be around, trying to get the time code right, because I've listened to that song and album so much. I think it'd be around, like, the 32-minute, 30-second mark where you get this, like, almost Hammond organ part, and then you hear, like, a echo chamber kind of duet between Michael and Swano, and it's, like, sounds like something Pink Floyd would have done. And
Yeah,
it's
nice.
incredible.
It's on the. I'm gonna check that out.
And then also
Perhaps I've heard
because
some of it. Yeah.
yeah, and then also for Dan Swano in general, and thankfully this is finally happening after I interviewed Swano back in 2022. The one
Yeah.
thing I wanted to ask him the most was his album he did in '98, solo album Moon Tower.
Yeah.
I was like, will that ever get reissued? And he said, funny you mentioned that. I am working on a deal with Century Media because they've been working to re-release and reissue all
Oh
the
yes.
Edge of Sandy stuff and Nightingale stuff, and eventually Moon Tower will, because for so long I kept trying to find a decent condition, reasonably priced copy of Moon Tower from Black Mark Production, and it's like, oh, you want a good copy? That'll be $200. Sounds
Yeah.
completely unreasonable, but thankfully March
Yeah.
6th, I think, it's getting reissued by Century Media with 2 discs. Like, it's a remaster, and you get like demos and even a couple of covers, like a Sisters of Mercy cover and a Merciful Fate
Nice.
cover. Like, he did a cover of Melissa, one of the best cover songs
Alright.
I've ever heard, and he can do the King Diamond falsetto perfectly, which it's like, my God.
Amazing.
So I can't wait. I already got it pre-ordered, so I can't wait for it to get here early March, because I'm like, that's like one of the big, rare albums I've been hunting for years, and it's finally coming. So, but like, even like Dan Swano's solo music, I could see being comparable to Iotunn, because it's
I've
like
listened to that a couple of times.
Yeah,
Our singer is a huge fan of his solo work, and yeah, it's really great music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course we talked about it briefly last year. Like, I could already picture what would happen if he produced or mixed a Iotunn album. It would sound massive. Absolutely.
Yeah,
massive.
I think so as well. I'm a big fan of his work. I really love also what he did with Insomnium, who we are often also compared
Omnium
to.
Gatherum, even.
Yeah, but he makes really good productions and mixes of albums. It could happen. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that maybe happening for album 3, since, like we talked about, you guys have hopped around between like Frederick Nordstrom, Jens Bager, and Jacob Hansen. It's like all about exploring sonic possibilities.
Yeah.
And then, like, even more bands I see on the similar artists tab, like Scar Symmetry, I guess, just recently got pushed up on the votes. And yeah, it's still kind of a small list because, well, obviously, I mean, the band's only just over the past few years really gotten going. So obviously, for like bands of that nature, it takes a little more time for like people to give more votes. But I could definitely see it changing over the next year. In fact, I remember at one point, I think the top band was In Mourning. Now they've dropped to like 7th on the list, and Borknagar took over the top spot, which makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But getting back to some of the questions from my co-host, now some questions from my buddy Ricky, Horror Master, who, like I said, couldn't make it today, but he first wanted to ask, excuse me.
That's fine.
Sometimes hiccups can come out like burps at times after eating breakfast. But his first question was, How was the metal scene in Denmark like growing up?
Ooh, nice one. It was actually quite good. There were like free bands such as Ilder's Post, Hate Sphere, also a band from a town quite closely to where my brother and I grew up called Sacrificial, who I really listened to a lot back as a kid, and they were actually the first metal concert I ever attended, where they played together with another one called Mercenary. So
I've seen that name
yeah,
come up.
yeah. I think it was like really good quality bands. If I was to say a difference, like compared to today, I see like music-wise, the Danish metal scene being even more like in search of new sounds and daring to go even further out, perhaps. In some ways, like a band such as Mercenary is really progressive and a really nice band. But a difference is perhaps also that there's more Danish metal bands coming up now who has a like huge focus on getting their band out internationally. And that's also, I think, one of the reasons why we see a lot of the big labels and so on really have a lot of focus on Danish metal these years. But yeah, it was great back then for me. Like the world was quite smaller back then when you were like a young teenager and so on. But there were some good local metal bands you could go out to and see concerts with and so on. But it wasn't. I think the Danish metal scene is quite a lot bigger today. That's my impression.
Yeah, and then of course, like we even brought up last time, like of course early on you had of course the Great Merciful Fate, King Diamond, and bands like
Oh yeah,
Artillery, and then eventually death metal and like more thrash bands like Invocator and Maceration
yeah,
coming up and about, and of
yeah,
course helps that Jacob Hansen has
yeah,
made a name for himself not only as a musician but as a producer, mixer, and engineer and all that stuff. I mean,
yeah,
you look at his resume of stuff he's worked on, of course, Kinship, but also like Aborted and so many bands and albums.
yeah.
It's
He
hard to keep
also just
track.
did the new Amorphis album as well, which
Yeah.
sounds really good. And yeah, he's doing lots of stuff. Huge success with mixing almost the whole Volbeat discography, and that's one of the biggest bands today coming
Yep.
out from Denmark. So, but also Danish acts such as a very legendary Danish rock band called Decimus Lizzy. They had their latest album mixed by Jacob, and I think that's one of the best rock albums for a long, long time. Really, really good. But
I'll have to check that out.
yeah, he does a lot of great albums. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then as a follow up question, I brought up King Diamond. He wrote this as like a silly question, but I wanted to ask too, just because like I brought up King Diamond. He wanted to know if you've actually met King Diamond yet.
I have.
Yes, you
I
got your
saw
wish, Ricky.
I saw King Diamond back in 2016 or something, where he played at Copenhagen, the biggest metal festival in Denmark, as a headliner there. And then the day after, I think it was, he had a speak at a library in the middle of Copenhagen, and I went in there with one of my best friends, and we sat at a cafe just outside the library, and then he comes walking down the street, and I'm like, I just froze in many ways. But he just, yeah, he could see we probably were there to to join him for the speak, you know. But
Yeah.
he just went over and said hi and asked if we enjoyed the show the night before and such stuff like that, being very polite. And I also got to say hi and have a picture with him after his speak. Yeah, huge experience, and he was really nice to say hi to.
Now I gotta ask, just for curiosity's sake, what hat was he wearing if he was wearing one?
I don't think he was.
Because I know I've seen like in a lot of interviews he's done, he's always wearing like a motorsports hat or like a car manufacturer hat. Considered that he also lives in Texas from time to time.
He probably did.
Yeah,
I can find the picture and send to you.
Yeah, because I know, because especially after seeing like interviews back like 15 plus years ago, like for Banger TV, like he had on like a Dale Earnhardt NASCAR hat, because I know he spends time in Texas a lot too, and I
Yeah,
feel like
he likes the
he
big
likes
fast cars.
yeah, he loves the American South, which I give him a lot of love and respect for, considering like of course like people stereotype that part of our country, but in reality we're all just super nice people down there, and great food and all that stuff. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
we tend to make simplified judgments of a lot of things.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, which I of course I'm not from that area. I'm from the Midwest, but like we're very close to that area, and I've been all up and down the southeast part of the U.S., mostly to like Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee, the Panhandle of Florida. Uh, Furthest I've gone down there was like Louisiana, but it's like legit Southern hospitality personalities down there, and
yeah, we went to Florida when we played at 70,000 tons in
yes.
24. It was. And went out to local restaurants in Miami and so on. We had a couple of days in Miami, and yeah, I've been both in like, yeah, Florida is the only southern state I've been in, but no matter where I've been, like California, New York, Florida, I meet a great hospitality from Americans.
Yeah, and
I
funny
must
enough
say.
too. Yeah, and funny enough too, like in that American South region, like in between like Tennessee and North Carolina, you would find some amazing landscapes in the Appalachian Mountains. It's
Yeah,
it's breathtaking up there. I've been in that area too many times for me to count ever since I was a kid.
yeah,
Because we always make an effort at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. Me and my family go to the Smoky Mountains region of Tennessee, which is like an encompassment of a lot of cities: Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and it's like Pigeon Forge is like the big entertainment town. Like there's so many like go-kart rides and like comedy theater shows and
yeah,
so many restaurants, and then like Gatlinburg's almost like their version of what like New York City would be like. It's all compact, walking distance to
yeah. Okay.
places, and there's a record shop in that place called the Rhythm Section where I've gotten a good chunk of my collection from. Hell, that's where I got everything from Acid Bath from, was Tennessee. And the
Yeah,
last time I
okay.
was there, they still had like a stack of this many Acid Bath albums, whether it be the 2 studio albums or their demo compilation. It's like, man, they really got a hand in getting a lot of Acid Bath music down there. But
Nice.
yeah, if you ever find yourself in the Appalachian Mountains area, you would be amazed at like how pretty the landscape is and the views and all that stuff. And it's
Yeah,
very, very peaceful there too.
nice.
Beautiful
I found
cabins
the
to rent.
I found the pictures. The picture.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
It's still a little oh, okay, I can tell a little bit. Yeah, it kind of looks like a motorsport
That's a hat.
Yep. He's just got on backwards. Like, oh my
Yeah,
god, I'm a hip hop guy. I wear my hat backwards.
yeah. I can't see what it says.
It probably seems like maybe it's like Chevrolet or something. I don't know. But it definitely looks
Yeah,
like a hat he would wear. So there is
yeah.
that. Um, but actually, back to another question that Ricky
Yeah,
had, and that is, who were your biggest guitar inspirations and your favorite all-time guitarist? I can tell
yeah,
that's
that's
going to be a
big.
tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think if I were to be inspiration wise put into a box where I see most of my solo playing reflected in another guitarist, that would be Randy Rhoads.
I definitely hear that for sure.
Uh, so, and it's crazy how little music the man got to do, but
Yeah,
how much this music just never gets old to me. It's like every time I hear Randy play, then it's like I heard it the first time in some way.
yeah,
But uh, talking like old guitar, David Gilmour is a huge influence on me. Uh, but in general, most progressive rock guitarists back in the 70s are. I've when I was my early 20s or something, it was like Jimmy Page was my guitar guard for a year or something. And of course, Kirk Hammett means the world to me as well. Like, I think the person I've listened the most to, like when it comes to lead guitar playing, it must be him because I've listened so much to Metallica, and
yeah,
yeah. Um, Also a guitar player like Michael Åkerfeldt and Åkesson from Opeth is crazy amazing. Like when I watch him live, it's like wow. And I don't know why I didn't know that, but we played in Greece last June, where we played before Halo Effect and Opeth, and I got to meet Fredrik Åkesson and Michael Åkerfeldt.
hmm,
And I know Åkesson's work in like the latest Opeth albums, and I've seen with that lineup, I've seen them, I don't know, 3, 4 times. And I think one of the highlights at those concerts is when he plays solo because he's so great.
yeah,
But I didn't know that he played the solo guitars and lead guitars on the new Ghost album, Skeletta. But he does. And I've been like talking about lead solo guitar inspiration for the last year. I can't remember when that album came out. I think like put composition, vocal melodies, synth arrangements, overall composition, everything, which is to me a extremely great album. Then you put on Fredrik Åkesson's work on the guitar on that album, and then you have, for me, I can't find out if, yeah, I think I'm like, it's one of my favorite albums, and it's been since it came out. I've listened to that album so many times, and especially just because that guitar work is just so tasteful, and it has everything to me. Like if you mix up a very shreddy guitarist and something in between, like Kirk and Hammett and Randy Rhoads, and then the spaciness of like David Gilmour,
yeah,
uh, and put Van Halen into that mix,
yeah,
then you have, for me, some kind of the guitar he does on that album. So he's with that Ghost album, he's one of my main guitar influences at yeah for the last year, I think.
yeah.
But
I definitely like, especially on some of the leads you do on Kinship. Like, maybe my favorite lead on the album would probably be in "I Feel the Night." Like, that almost covers the entire spectrum. I feel like you get a lot of like emotional melody, but a lot of shred in there too, and it has a bit of like
Yeah,
a cosmic feel at times. So it's like that solo I think would perfectly encompass everything for sure, no doubt about it. Like I hear a little
I have
Randy
to.
Rhoads and a little Gilmore and a
Yeah,
little Hammond, a little Ockerfeld and Augustin, all that stuff. I could definitely hear it now.
yeah. I have to mention the first solo in that song is my solo. The second one is actually my brother's solo. But
Yeah.
if he was sitting here right now, he would. Yeah, just to mention one of my inspiration, Brent Hines, also the late Brent
Uh,
Hines. Love it. Like in general, the guitar work in Mastodon is one of my main influences. Yeah, okay, and then of course Tony Iommi, but the list goes on. But
yeah.
the point being, if you ask my brother the same question, and in many ways questions, I think we cover like 80-90% of agreement, and then I have like I'm a fanatic like Jimmy Page, the old Zeppelin albums. He likes it, but he's not fanatic. And then he has a couple, but in general, we just cover each other's tastes. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, if I could bring up a guitarist that I could also hear like little bit of trace between the two of you would be Steve Hackett from Genesis.
Thank you. Thank you. In general, Rutherford and Hackett, the Genesis guitarists are a huge influence. So thank you for bringing that up.
Because
I,
especially,
I've seen I've seen two Steve Hackett concerts here in Copenhagen, and it's yeah, I get the
it's
goosebumps.
like a guitar clinic. Because
It's
especially the lead he does on Dancing with the Moonlit Night, where he pretty much started the tapping technique that like Eddie Van Halen's so
yeah,
known for, and so many other players.
they they were way ahead of the guitar playing in many ways, like
Yeah.
impressive stuff.
Yeah, and almost in a
Yeah,
way, it's almost like Steve Hackett's kind of like a guitarist, where it's like in the broader scope of guitar talk. I don't ever really hear Steve Hackett get brought up that much, but if you ask in terms of fans, but for like other guitarists, he gets brought up a lot. So it's almost like the whole musician kind of discussion, where it's like
yeah, and
I
also
would argue that he's one of the most underrated guitarists for the simple fact that like you look at what Eddie Van Halen did, he was almost like a hybrid of Tony Iommi as far as just one to write riffs, but lead wise, definitely a lot of Steve Hackett.
I totally agree. But I also like he's not up there being mentioned as much as for instance Van Halen, but the respect around this man is insane, you know.
Yeah,
And I think I think the whole Selling England by the Pound album and Foxtrot and those albums.
yeah,
Also, when it comes to composition wise, if you take the most atmospheric parts, the more rhythmic parts, sometimes the actual heavy metal parts that's in Genesis old 70s music, that kind of having all those different settings in one song, you see that in the big Metallica songs in the 80s, you know.
absolutely,
It's a total like natural thing coming out of the 70s.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, funny enough, too, I was it's back to like a video I had done. I also did this funny idea video all about like metal covers I would love to hear from like it was a video idea created by my good friend Scott, who mostly does like reaction videos to music or like horror stuff, but he's actually a bass player, damn good bass player too, and he's much older than me. I even sometimes call him my metal and wrestling dad because he's old enough to be my dad. And we just met because of a mutual friend of mine, but I was coming up with this, or he came up with the video talking about like metal cover songs he would want to hear, and like the caveat was has to be something that a band hasn't done. Like no Metallica doing "Am I Evil" and all that. Like come up with covers you would love to hear in your
come
head.
up. Aha. Wow.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah.
That I now I remember what it was. Now I remember what it was. So in the video, like I brought up, like I would love to hear like Hooded Menace do a Depeche Mode cover since they did Duran Duran on their last album, which was awesome. Or like Metallica doing another Nick Cave and the Bad Seed song, just because they did one on the Garage Inc. album and it was so cool. But I brought up Iotunn and I said the one song I would personally love to hear Iotunn try and do, and I know it would be ambitious because of how long the song is. It would be really interesting to hear Iotunn cover "Supper's Ready" by Genesis.
Thank you. It's without promising anything.
Right.
There is a thing right now in the band that we shouldn't we do some cover music,
Yeah, maybe like a covers EP. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know when. And I know we've talked about some like this song could be good, this song could be good. I don't want to tell about that because, but it could happen, and I think a Genesis song is high on the list, and Supper's Ready is like perhaps the biggest progressive rock song ever. So that would be totally insane.
And plus, I could already picture like John doing the vocals, especially like right before it gets to like the real quirky swinging groove, like where Peter Gabriel. Like I remember whenever I listened to the song or even watched like the live clips where he makes a flower costume and it gets to that part.
Totally
it's always
trippy,
and I can already picture how John would doing that that part. It would sound unbelievably awesome. But yeah, that also, was one I wanted.
The third song from Selling England by the Pound, First to Fifth.
Yeah, that would be a good one too.
Also like what we talked about before, like good guitar solos. Listen to that solo. That's just like that's composition. That's soloing composition wise when it's best. It's
or hell even the heaviest Genesis song, "The Knife" off of Trespass.
Yeah, that's from Trespass. That's a great song.
That's an awesome song. Like that's like progressive metal before progressive metal was progressive metal almost, because it's
also like the musical boxes. There's also great heavy stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's heavy metal.
The possibilities are endless. It's endless possibility, which I love.
But to me, like if you'd ask me what I would like the most to make a cover of 1.5 years ago, I would say Genesis. I think so. But because of the passing of Ozzy, there's something I feel that needs to come out in some way. I don't know yet, but yeah.
I think a perfect like Ozzy solo song would be Mr. Crowley.
Yeah,
that would be especially because those solos on that song, I personally feel for Randy Rhoads solos, the best he ever did. Both solos, they were just masterful,
pure perfection.
Yeah. Not only of shred, but emotion, especially that second solo that ends the song.
Yeah, and that's I think good guitar solos is also always like a good storytelling, and it needs to have a lot more than just a lot of tones and notes. It needs to have emotion and lots of dynamics and stuff, melodies. And those solos have like everything.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was just a fun little one. The Supper's Ready. That was a fun little one I came up with, concocted in my head. Like, oh my god, I could picture how this would be, and it's like, oh my god, this would be incredible to hear.
That's another one from the 70s.
Oh yes.
And You and I from this album.
Yeah. Actually, let me see. Even I got it right too.
That's a fucking great album.
Yeah. Yeah, more prog rock mastery. Yeah, and You and I, yeah, that would be a great one for sure as well.
Yeah.
Hell, I could even say like King Crimson Epitaph would be a great one as well.
One of my favorite songs. Yeah.
One of my favorite prog rock songs for sure as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, we could just keep going down this rabbit hole and, and still not even scratch the surface. Like Jethro Tull, Aqualung, that would be.
Oh yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Great band as well.
Yeah, and also kudos to Ian Anderson for doing the spoken word parts on the last Opeth album. It's like that is such a Michael Ockerfeld thing to do, is to get a prog legend like Ian Anderson to be part of an album.
Absolutely.
And then the last question. Well, he actually had two questions, but I could kind of wrap these together into one.
Yeah.
But he asked for both like Desert Island and top 5 favorite albums of all time. Talk about putting you on the spot with this one.
Yeah, so I'm going to an island and I have 5 albums.
Yep.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Okay, number 1, I have to have a Metallica album. And that's... I always been telling myself, I can't choose between Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning, but each time I say that, I choose Ride the Lightning. So that must be my favorite.
I mean, I always go Master of Puppets, but man, those two are so close.
Yeah,
it
like, doesn't matter. It's both albums are perfect. So
yes,
but Ride the Lightning. Then I would need to have a. Yeah, I think I would need to have Dark Side of the Moon with Pink Floyd with me. And that's the tough one. I've talked a lot. My brother and I have been listening a lot, even more to Black Sabbath and Ozzy's solo career since he passed. And we can't find out what matters the most for us, because it's fucking impossible. That's so much music, like it's insane. So it's a lot to choose both an Black Sabbath album and an Ozzy album. That's 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
God damn it, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you were to ask me this, it's like at least 3 albums I know immediately off the top of my head. Master of Puppets, Rest in Peace. Avenged Sevenfold, Waking the Fallen, because that was such an important one for me as a kid.
Okay.
And nice. Then the other 2, it's like, take your pick. It's so difficult. But those 3 would be definite for me because they were important for me. But it's like, yeah, it's always those last couple.
Yeah,
it really gets you right in the ass.
But okay. Metallica, Ride the Lightning, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I'll get back to the whole Ozzy thing. Mastodon really means a lot to me.
I was thinking about Mastodon too. Like Crack the Sky would be the one for me that I would probably.
That would be yours. I think I would choose Leviathan.
That's an awesome one too, for sure.
But I could most of the albums I really find as great albums. Let's say. I need to have an Iron Maiden album.
Oh yeah,
5 albums is just that's a stupid scenario.
Yeah, I hate that scenario.
Can I put some?
Can I just take my whole collection with me, please? Can I just take everything? I don't want to pick just 5. Stop.
I would bring Rock in Rio live album, Iron Maiden.
Wow, that's an interesting one to choose. I actually need to get that one. I don't have that one. Shockingly,
it's I actually I've heard it like sometimes on my stereo and so on, but I've watched it like so many times.
Now, if you were to ask me about
okay, I'll bring, and next time you ask me, I'll say Black Sabbath, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, but this time I bring Blizzard of Oz.
Yeah.
And it could be The Ultimate Sin. It could be, No More Tears is amazing.
Which it's going to be hard for me this June because I'm going to be ranking Ozzy solo albums, and man, that's going to be a heartbreak. Same with King Diamond's solo albums this Halloween because it's so fitting, but that's going to be difficult too. Like actually, currently, I've been kind of slacking on it, but luckily I still got plenty of time. I've been starting to do for At the Gates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I actually, for the first time ever, just a couple days ago, listened to the Gardens of Grief EP.
Yeah.
That is an amazing EP. Like, holy crap. That's like one of the best things I've ever heard in terms of Swedish death metal. Like, it just sounds like slightly more melodic, Dismember, Entombed. Like, it's so dark. And then I just got started re-listening to The Red in the Sky is Ours, so I still got a long way to go, obviously, but and that's the other thing too, and that's like the other thing too, like with At the Gates, man, I know with Tampa being no longer with us, but supposedly he did get vocals done for a new album, so if that album ever drops, man, it's going to be both a heartbreak but also rewarding to hear the final works of the great Thomas Lindbergh.
Yeah, I talked a bit with some of the Dark Tranquillity guys on the tour, and they were really like saddened by it, that they knew him from way back. So that's a tough loss, especially for them. But 5 albums. How many did I pick? Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning, Dark Side of the Moon, Leviathan, Blizzard of Oz.
Oh.
So the last one, and it's always the trickiest one. And while I'm even thinking about it, like I had 3 Master Puppets, Rust in Peace, Waken the Fallen.
Yeah, what more did you have?
Crap. Even it's hard for me. Mastodon, Crack the Sky, I'd probably have up there too.
Yeah.
And then I have to have... And I get torn between having a Death album or an Opeth album.
Yeah, that's not easy.
No, it's not. Because part of me wants Blackwater Park, part of me wants Symbolic, or Leprosy. Oh, man.
I would choose Blackwater Park of those, and I know our drummer, Björn, I think he would choose Symbolic.
Yeah.
But, it's also a lot like what you've been listening to the most in some way.
Yeah, you always gravitate towards.
Blackwater Park is essential on that matter.
Final answer for me, I will go Blackwater Park.
Yeah.
I got my 5, even though I hate doing it again. Like, Ricky, why did you make us go through this? I love you, dude, but
I have like I can't choose just 5, but we'll do anyways. And
basically, a long answer short. Everything we own, we can't do just 5.
But the 5th, I have to bring some classical music, and there's a recording of my favorite classical director. Do you say that?
Composer.
Called Karajan, I think. And there's a compilation disc with him where he is the director of the orchestra for all kinds of amazing classical music throughout time. that's in the room of a Largo tempo. So it's very, very big and slow music. That compilation disc is one of the albums I've listened to the most. It's totally mesmerizing. And I have to bring some classical music, so I'll bring that one.
Yeah.
And now I don't have any Genesis, so I'm.
Yeah, it's like, damn it, Ricky, why this? Why this? Again, like I just said, I love you, but fuck you. Damn it, I know if he was here right now, he'd be like sitting there like, yes, stink. Like an evil villain in a cheesy cartoon or something.
Which Genesis album would you choose?
Oh god. Man, because I like stuff from both eras, the Peter Gabriel and the Phil Collins era, but if I had to pick just one Genesis album, probably as far as like composition and melodies and having like a good mix of complexity but also simplicity, probably for me, Selling England by the Pound.
Yeah.
Probably be the one, because
I
would
probably end there as well, but yeah, I really have a close bond with the Trespass album. I've always been like, oh, I really love that album. But I think I would end up with Foxtrot or Selling England by the Pound.
Yeah, it would definitely be between the. Sure. Or hell, there might be a time I might like Invisible Touch for the 80s pop aspect.
And Wind and Wuthering is an amazing record.
I need to get the album Duke. Like, I hear that was kind of like a big transitional album from going from prog rock to being like 80s hit makers.
Yeah. I don't know that album either, so yeah.
Yeah, which like, yeah, it's like Genesis is just one of those bands that couldn't seem to do anything wrong. They could be the most complex, out of control prog rock band to being one of the best hit makers of the 80s. It's like, it's like, how'd they do it?
Yeah.
And then, of course, it helps that Phil Collins, also one of my favorite drummers and vocalists, too. Like, ever since I was a little kid, when I saw the Disney movie Tarzan and that he did all the music on that, it was like, Phil Collins is like an idol of mine. And then I find out he played in Genesis much later in my life, and then hearing him drum and then even his vocals, I'm like, is there anything this guy can't do? And hell, his son, Nick, awesome drummer in his own right, too.
Yeah.
Like, I remember discovering him on Drumeo, watching videos of him doing, like, his own interpretation of Opeth, Ghost of Perdition, without hearing the original drum track. Like, he had to listen to just the guitars and the vocals, and then come up with his own drum parts, which is very creative, and he kind of took it to, like, a more, like, groove, like, 70s prog rock groove, as opposed to, like, what Martin Lopez actually did.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I would recommend you check that video out. It's actually really, really cool. And they do it with all sorts of drummers. Like, Dirk Verburen did, like, his own version of Mr. Brightside by The Killers without listening to the original drums.
That's a nice concept.
Yeah, nice concept. Now I could almost imagine well, I don't think they could get away with doing it with guitars, because that would just be way too...
That's a bit difficult.
Drums, it's a lot more creative, because you can come up with your own interpretation of what you think. Like, especially listening to a song you've never heard of without the drums, and as a drummer, it's like you gotta figure it out yourself. And I love how they'll reveal the actual drum track afterwards to be like, oh, why did I do that? I was stupid, or double bass, or like little washes and all that. It's like, and I learned more drum terminology as a result.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, I would recommend you check that out. But speaking of recommendations, just because like me having the big library that I have of music, even though I am nowhere close to the collection of my friend Nick, who I only have maybe like a 10th of what he has.
Nice.
Like, I'm close to 1,700 right now as we speak behind me.
Yeah.
But my friend Nick has like about 11,000, and that's because he's so much older, and so he'd been buying music since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Back
Makes
in
sense.
the late 80s, but but like but as far as like recommendations for bands, like cuz I always like to recommend like stuff that I've been really digging that perhaps some others may not be as aware of. But one band that I've grown to kind of become almost obsessed with
Hmm.
because of how not only heavy they are, but also how epic they get. Sulfur Aeon.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't listened to them that much,
Oh my god.
but
Like,
I
yeah.
yeah
Yeah, probably in my opinion, one of the most underrated and overlooked modern
yeah
extreme metal bands. Like, and I always describe for those uninitiated, like the best way to describe Sulfur Aeon musically. It's blackened death metal, more on the death metal side of the genre, but like musically, like in terms of other bands, they kind of sound like a hybrid of Behemoth, Hate, Nile, Morbid Angel, Immolation, but also throw in a lot of epic melodies in there too, because with them being H.P. Lovecraft obsessives,
yeah. Okay.
it's like they create this like evil but yet very grand sound. It's just, but yet the tones, some of the heaviest stuff I have ever heard. Like,
Nice.
it's such a mean guitar tone when they play the really heavy stuff, but when they get into the epic melodies, they can be up there amongst some of the best epic melodies I've ever heard, especially on their last album a few years ago, Seven Crowns, Seven Seals.
Yeah.
That's almost progressive black and death metal just because of how lavish the songs get. So that would be a great one. And I hope they release
I'll check it
something this
out.
year. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Another one, um, and this definitely goes definitely more underground, but I always feel this band, if only they didn't break up after 2 demos, I think they could have been a massive juggernaut in death metal, period, or just extreme metal as a whole. Time Ghoul.
Time Ghoul.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
a very forgotten death metal band from the Midwest, Missouri, in fact, and they only did 2 demos in the 90s. And like musically, they're very much like the precursor to a band like Blood Incantation. Like, it's very sci-fi,
Yeah. Okay.
technical, progressive, but yet the vocals I think are the most interesting aspect because it's like the growls sound a lot like Dallas Toller Wade when he was in Nile, like that very evil growl.
Oh yeah.
But he's also got like this really cool, like low, almost gothic, clean vocal delivery but he sounds like he's sounds like an incantation of like evil aliens coming up from the ground. But like musically, it's almost like if you took Morbid Angel, like the heft and chug of Suffocation, but also threw in some prog, some doom, and some black metal in there, and you get Time Ghoul. And yeah,
Nice.
only 2 demos, so 6 songs as a whole, but all those songs, they are bonkers, but yet very, very interesting. Especially the one song I would say for you to check out, Occurrence on Mimas. That's like 10 plus minutes of sci-fi, epic, heavy, evil death metal glory. It's like, again, you get like Morbid Angel riffs, you get Nile vocals, you get Doom riffs, you get almost like Gregorian chants at times. It's almost, and I would also say it's like if Star Wars had a death metal soundtrack
Wow,
because
that's
it
good.
is so cosmic. But that's another one.
Yeah.
And I gotta go back to the CD vault behind me to even think of more. Because again, there're just so many.
Yeah,
Um,
there is.
Actually, one if you're in the mood for a good laugh, Psycho Stick.
Psycho Stick.
Yeah, like it's like musically they're very much aligned with like alternative metal, metalcore, groove metal, but they're so good, like great writers, but also absolutely hilarious and dumb lyrics, but it's fun. Like the one song I think is the most hilarious because I relate to it so much because I hate going to the dentist. They have a song called "The Root of All Evil," which is all about going to the dentist. And I played that song for my mom years ago while we were in the car together, and I just played it off of my phone for her, and she about pissed herself laughing. Because like the whole song is just like I said, all about going to the dentist, and then how the song starts with like big chug, like dun dun, but he's going dentist, dentist, going to the dentist, going to the dentist, and it's gonna suck.
I'm gonna listen to that the next time.
Just be ready, and if I were, I'd play it in front of all of the whole band and see their reactions. Like, I almost have a gut feeling you're all gonna be on the ground busting a gut. Especially because they even add like little dental skits in there, like the doctor, like, "Hello, I'm Dr. Taylor, how are you?" "Fine!"
Nice.
Or you even hear the dental drills and he's like singing along going, "Ow, ow, ow,
yeah.
ow, ow, ow." They even have a song called Beard. There's a song called "Do You Want a Taco?" Or they even make fun of like deathcore or even the whole gent thing with the song "So Heavy." It's like it's a heavy song and it's just a parody of deathcore and gent and all that stuff. It's fun. Or even "Obey the Beard," where they bring up, it's a silly song all about how much they love beards, like bringing up Dimebag Darrell and ZZ Top. It's just awesome. And I hear whenever they play live, like my buddies from Thralls of Metal got to see them live play the Full Terror Assault Festival in 2023 over in Illinois. And like they start off their set by playing the quote world's shortest set they play like for 7 seconds, walk off stage, and the crowd chants 8 more songs, 8 more songs, and the singer's like, "No, beat it, buy a shirt," and then they come back and play the rest of the set.
Nice.
It's like they're ultimate trolls, but in the best way possible. So that would be another great.
I have a recommendation as well.
Oh yeah,
an album that's just been it's just been re-released because the band is back together after, I don't know, 20 years or something.
Yep.
This one.
Let's see.
Warning. It's a band called Warning, and the album is called Watching from a Distance.
Oh, let me take it. I feel like I've heard of that band, but I never really checked them out. Actually, I'm gonna. Where are they from?
I think they're from Ireland. I hope that I don't fuck that up.
Yeah,
Ireland, I think so. I'm not sure, but somewhere.
And you said what was the album called?
Watching from a Distance.
Oh, I see it was on Relapse Records too.
Yep.
Oh, here it is. I found it. Ah, yeah. Like I heard about. I have heard about this band, but I never checked them out. I only knew about them because of the Thralls of Metal guys talking about the first album, "The Strength to Dream."
But, yeah, that's also a good album. But I think this album is it's really good.
Funny enough, I'm going to be going on a shopping trip up to Dayton to a all-metal record store. I'll see if I can track this album down, see if they got it. If not, I'll probably try and find it online and see where. But yeah, I have definitely heard about the band, but I never checked them out. But yeah, it definitely sounds like something I dig.
They are writing a new album, so
cool.
More music to come. Yeah,
maybe this year, and that'll be fun to check out for sure. But yeah, like we could go on and on about music and like recommendations and stuff. Like hell, I could bring up like actually one more I'll bring up too, because I think in terms of the atmospheric black metal, folk metal stuff, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the band Saor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
I'm a big fan of his music.
Yeah, like,
I think we're going to play at a festival with him.
Awesome.
Them as a band. Yeah, I hope to to be able to say hi, because that's really good music.
Yeah, some of the most
think I have
beautiful music I've ever heard. Like, I remember when I checked out their new album, Rebirth, or not Rebirth. I forget what the best album. I know the
Yeah, I
song
can't remember.
Rebirth was on Amidst the Ruins. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that new album and that song, that closer, Rebirth, that is probably, if I had to make like a list of the most beautiful metal songs I've ever heard, that would be up there. Like, man, especially that second half.
Yeah, I agree.
So incredible.
It's amazing.
And I would love to pick Andy's brain. Hell, I might try and see if I can get him on this show, because I'd love to pick his brain on how he comes up with all these beautiful melodies and vocal patterns that he does. Like,
is he from Scotland?
Yes, Glasgow. Yep.
Yeah. My guess would be that he's been out in the Scottish Highlands.
Probably so. Probably so. But
there's some mountains in there somewhere. But yeah.
Well, before we wrap this episode up, any last words you want to say to any of your fans who may be watching this? Like, words of wisdom, words of hope, and what's to come for the future for the band.
Words of wisdom and hope. Well, I think the world is really like challenged at the moment, and for me personally, to like I really put a lot of time into to read about what's going on in the world and stuff like that. I'm an educated historian, so I like to read about all kinds of stuff and to be updated about the world. So just, I think music is more important than it's been.
Yeah,
electrified music came, like rock music, metal music came after World War II, and I think the essence of this music is more important than ever now. And from our band's perspective, we want to go as many places as we can to try and just make some kind of unity in the metal world and beyond. Everybody's welcome, and that also counts for the US. And we hope that it doesn't get too tricky and too hard to get into the US, because the bond between Europe and the US, also when it comes to rock and metal music, is extremely close, and we need to keep that going.
Absolutely.
And we need to keep, just in general, keep the unity going, and the free world.
Yeah.
And I hope to see a lot of our fans at our headlining concerts in Europe this time around. And we're talking about the set list and everything now, and we're gonna take it to the max. So yeah, and yeah, thank you for inviting me here, and yeah.
Absolutely. And now if I were to hope, like, if you guys do get to do a big tour here in the States, one date I would love is a Cincinnati date, and it could be anywhere in that city. And I would do the best I can to make that show and get to meet you guys, because it would be,
of course,
all the world to me. And as far as like who I would love to see you guys open for, like Opeth would be a big one, but even a band like Between the Buried and Me would be interesting. Dream Theater.
It would.
Devin Townsend would be a rather eclectic night, or Gojira, Mastodon, or any extreme prog or just prog band. Or hell, even just like melodic death metal, or even old school death metal bands. That would be awesome.
I had the honor of meeting the Dream Theater guys. I worked as a runner at their Copenhagen gig on their last tour.
Yeah.
So I met Portnoy and Petrucci. I got to talk with, and like Petrucci doing this down to me at the VIP front row during the show, and I was fuck yeah. And I actually gave both our albums to the guys. So I hope one day perhaps they'll stumble in and we're getting bigger, and okay.
And you guys get to open for them. That would be an awesome magical night for sure.
Really, really crazy. Yeah.
And it would probably be an arena show too. So, like, say you guys get to open on at the arena at the what used to be the U.S. Bank Center in Cincinnati, which I used to go to all the time for pro wrestling events, but not to concerts.
Yeah.
So that would be quite the show if it were the case. Or at the new Andrew J. Brady Music Center, which is both indoor and outdoor. And
Yeah, but I think it's our. For me personally, I think the biggest dream ever for me has been like, as it is for so many European metal and rock musicians, is to tour throughout the US and Canada and to experience the continent
and
in
even
that
Latin America.
And of course, yeah. But talking about North America, that's a very, very big dream. So I hope we'll keep the unity going and everything will be peaceful and good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I always have all the hope in the world that it all sorts itself out down the road, which it usually does. So.
Yeah.
But regardless, and then of course, if I had more money, I would love to go over to Europe and visit like Sweden, Norway, Denmark, England, Scotland, Ireland, Italy, Germany, France, Netherlands. Like go all over the place and like see what kind of albums I can pick up, what shows I could go to.
Yeah, of course.
Meet a bunch of my friends from Instagram who I wish I could meet in person, but it's near impossible because so far apart, but that's neither here nor there. But I digress even further, as I typically do. But anyways, thank you once again, Jesper, for joining me on this special day, and hopefully we can do a part 3 down the road, because then you would enter legendary status of the Horsemen Podcast, because you joined James McBain from Hellripper, Gunner from Blood Red Throne, and Dylan Gowan from Seven Spires as 2-time guests that we've had on here. So
that's an exclusive club.
Kind of, if you want to look at it that way. I just kind of see me as just like, I'm just desperate for whatever I need to get done. And actually, funny enough, speaking of James McBain, I'm currently in the process of possibly getting him back on for a 3rd time before his new album for Hellripper, 100 Priests.
Yeah,
or
that's coming out soon.
Yeah, I think in March, somewhere in that range. I got it pre-ordered, so I can't wait to hear that, considering that last album was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah.
But yeah, so that'll come eventually and all that stuff. But anyway, so thank you all so much for watching. In terms of what's coming up next, who knows? I mean, we're still working on trying to get like Arthur Risk on the show. I'm actually also in the process of getting Uffe Peterson from Mesro on the channel, on the show, to talk to and pick his brain about thrash and all that. And still got the possibility of getting John McEntee from Incantation on here. I mean, it's all depending on scheduling and
that could be cool
stuff. Yeah, it would absolutely be cool. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, but until next time, as I always say, and it makes everybody laugh every time I say it, but keep your horns high and your dreams wet.
Oh, yeah.